bad. The youth are still throwing stones. If you could just come, Kamaru, we can attempt to hear the conversation between. They are still throwing stones, but their leaders are calling on them to hold on. Hello, officers.
Please go back. Go back.
There's a stone, Kamaru. There's an incoming. Kamaru, if you can just keep rolling.
Okay.
It's
that's
a
what
very.
I do. That's what I do for a living. I dodge bullets and stones. Good evening. I'm excited to be here with you. Actually, that was not what I was supposed to be in my life when I was growing up. You are looking at a disappointed pilot. Yes, I know. I wanted to be a pilot, but I was told to be a pilot, you needed to be good at mathematics. And me and maths, we are opposite lines, so I never could have been a pilot. So I abandoned the ship entirely. And yeah, I've become a journalist now. I don't have regrets because instead of being in the air as a pilot, I'm on the air as another type of a captain. So I'm happy. I'm happy. So I'm here to talk to you briefly about what journalists do. But before then, who am I? I'm a cowboy. So you see that in the picture, me milking a cow. I grew up as a herdsman. My father is a herdsman. My siblings, I'm the last born of 14, but we are 7 who are alive now. And I'm the only one who has gone to school. So in my house, we don't speak English because nobody understands apart from me. So our family WhatsApp group, we do voice notes because if you text, nobody can read. I mean, I'm the only one who can read. So yes, I grew up from that community. Asuchari Junction, if you're from Accra to Akosombo, after the Shy Hills Game Reserve, that's Asuchari Junction. That's where I grew up, herded cattle. And then as a last born, my mother decided to let me go to school. And yeah, so I went to school. And I finished school at Asuchari Junction DA Basic School. But I wanted to be a pilot, and this is the reason. When aircrafts fly past our village, it was an exciting thing. And when helicopters, which fly closer, come, that was even more exciting. And there was always this debate that Jerry Rawlings is the one in the helicopter. There was this military, there still is a military camp close to our village, the 64 military camp. And so they always swear that it's J.J. Rawlings who is in there. It was always exciting. I wanted to be a pilot, but that has failed. Now, as a herdsman in the village, there are a lot of things when you do in the bush, it's idle, so how do you keep yourself up? I got a small radio set. I think the brand was Naiwa. I don't know if it's proper brand or it's Spino, I don't know. And then later, Panasonic. I was always listening to the radio. I love to listen to a lot of the brilliant voices on radio. Of course, the booming voice of Bolare on 99.7 was a powerful one. I would listen to Evans Mensah, Jifam Bampo at the time, on Jifakbeho on the radio doing the news night. My favorite guy who is very, very cheeky, James Ejinin Boatin on Radio Gold. Fred Chidi on Citi, very witty, humorous. And Dolores Frimpong Manso, sharp shooter. I loved her. She would look you in the face and ask you in tree. Oh yeah. And it's something I have learned without really realizing. And today I do my work and I do those kind of things. Bernard Avle started on Citi Breakfast Show. Not a very nice voice. When you are taking over from people like Kojo Opon Nkrumah, who had very nice voice. I mean, our big boss himself, Komla Dumo from the BBC, you listen to his booming voice, and Bernard Avle comes with this skinny voice. He himself is skinny. It wasn't that. But you see, he had intellect, and that is something we do in media, so intellect. Now, so the question is, what do we do as journalists? I think a lot of us know what we do. We gather, we process, and we present. Simple. But there's something called development journalism, and that's why I've titled my piece, When the Microphone is Used to Manifest the Manifesto. The manifesto is what the political parties would come in and say to you that they are going to use to develop the country. So how do we as journalists help with the development agenda? And that is what we do every day. So I'm going to tell you a few of the things. First of all, I go back to my community a lot. I go back to my community because as a community child, I feel you need to help. So I got some computers and sent to my village school, Australia Junction DA Basic School. I went to give them computers. And I did this because I grew up in a village where there was no electricity until I went to secondary school. First time I slept under light or electricity was at Tema Secondary School. Yes, I'm a Temascan, a proud anchorite. And I remember when I went to the computer lab, I thought it was TV, you know, the computers. Until they said these are computers, I didn't know it was. Because in my village, there wasn't electricity, first of all. There was only one TV that served the whole village. It was owned by a man called Mr. Ulaku. And the brand is President. For those who are older, they will know that brand, President. It was black and white. It had one channel earlier, GTV, and later, when you change we call this gum. I don't know why we called it that, but the dial, you switch the second one, you get TV3, and that's it. And we only watch the TV in the night, maybe 9 p.m., maybe 10 p.m. And this is because we powered the TV with a car battery, which belonged to the owner of the TV. He goes to town in the morning to go and work. He had a pickup. He goes to do his business. When he comes home, we then open the hood or the bonnet of the car, take the battery, and go and connect it to this TV, and that lightened up the entire village. So if Azuma Nelson was boxing, that is where everybody came to watch. If Abedi Pele was playing or Audu Isaka was playing, that's where everybody came to watch. And so the entire community, and that was my father's master, so his house. So we always go there to go and watch TV. And then we also get the opportunity to watch movies. Highlander was my favorite. It was on Wednesdays at 7:30 on TV3. I don't know if it's still a proper movie, but yeah, it was exciting. And then Sunday movies, I mean, TV3 will show us some movies. GTV would give us talking points. We'll all be complaining until it's over. I didn't know that the thing I was complaining about is what I was going to become one day, where I sit on the radio. Every evening on radio, I'm on air for 90 minutes talking. I talk for a living. That's my job on Citi FM. And then I go on Channel 1 TV now, which used to be Citi TV, and I do the news. And then I ask questions face to face, asking the hard questions. And people are like, hey, Charlie, you're terror. Like, yeah, it's my job. I have to do it. But what am I trying to say? So I go back to community, I help. I give them computers. Then I go back and give them books, story books, so that they would read, the children. Because I know that a lot of these children didn't have mentors. And that's all you needed. When I was growing up, I didn't have a role model. I didn't have a mentor. That's why I didn't even know what I was going to become. I became a journalist by accident. I don't want someone to become something by accident. I'm lucky. I'm doing well in mine. Maybe you become a doctor by accident and you kill people. So because that should not happen, let's work hard. So I go back to the community and do these things. But that's small. So what's the bigger thing? In developing a nation, you have to develop individuals collectively. So I'm going to tell you 3 stories, quick stories that I have done over the period. I have won awards, international awards, local awards, but my boss, Bernard Avle, he told me something. He said, awards don't define us. They are just a motivation, but if you don't get an award, it doesn't mean you are not doing well. I mean, of course, but you shouldn't be struggling that I want to get an award. So I don't really fret. It was great. It was the first time I've been to America. The first time I entered an aeroplane was to go and receive an award in Rwanda, Kigali, 2012. I was happy. First of all, I was sitting in an aeroplane. My stomach was rumbling. I was afraid that something would happen, but it was exciting. So what did I do that I think has served and helped in building the community? 3 stories. Inusa Ali is a boy. He was in Katamanso herding cattle. I was going to visit my uncle with my father, and his brother meets me and shows me his brilliant results. A in chains. He had finished secondary school. He had nowhere to go, nothing, no help. I took the results, took it to my office, and told my bosses that Bernard Avle, Samuel Atamensa, these are brilliant results I've gone to find in a bush somewhere in Katamanso. What can we do about this boy? We spoke to UPSA. They admitted him. We gave a full scholarship. And today, as we speak, Inusa is not just, he did not just graduate as a valedictorian of his class. He works at Deloitte as an accountant, and he's a chartered accountant now. And that's exciting. There's a story of Sadia, 13 years old, from my village. Her parents wanted to marry her off. 13 years. I was called and told, they want to marry. The headmistress actually called me and said, Charlie, your people, oh. I said, what's the matter? They want to marry off a girl. She's 13 years old. What can you do to help? Now, these are not the stories you go on air and start, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to you live from the marriage ceremony. No, you don't do that. There are some things you bring on the screen. There are some other things we deal with outside the screen. And this is a story where I quickly called the district police commander. I called the social welfare officers, and I said, there's a crime about to happen this weekend. Please go and deal with it. And they moved in, they rescued the girl, and today as we speak, she has finished her GSS and gone to my alma mater, Tema Secondary School, and she has finished, and I'm happy. She would have been married off at age 13, and it's a normal thing in my village. I think all my big sisters were married as teenagers. It was normal, but that was many years ago. Now, the third story that I'm going to talk about is the Akosombo Dam spillage. We all have heard about what happened. People had a lot of destruction in their homes. Lots of communities were submerged. But there was a lot of attention in these areas, Tokpo and all those places. What happened? I'm a journalist. We regularly just go out and tell the story. When I went to Tokpo and reported on a pregnant woman who was sleeping on the bare floor in a school, an uncompleted school, Tokpo RC Basic School or DA Basic School, the attention of the nation was drawn to it. And for that matter, my media house decided to run a campaign to support people who had been affected by the flooding. And at the end of the day, 19 constituencies benefited from our work. We sent them rice, we sent them sugar, we sent everything, but that's not all. We built shelters in Tokpo, in Ada, in Asesewa. In all these places, we went to build shelters for them, and we also built a facility to hold people in the future where there's a flooding, where they would go and seek shelter. So these are things that we do to develop the nation. When you do a small one here, another one does a small one here, together we build a nation. Now I have a personal project, and that project is called the Jennifer Project. In 2020, there was COVID-19. There was a lockdown. Schools were shut down. We were in the office. Okay, so we've told all manner of COVID stories. There's another angle missing. School children, GHS, they are going to write the BECE. They are home, government school. How are they preparing for the BECE? So I took the microphone and went to La. In Accra, we say Labadi, but it's an offensive term. So since I'm in Cape Coast, I can say Labadi, sorry, but it's La. And when I went to La, I decided to find people and see how they are surviving. And I was told to go to the home of Jennifer by community members. And when I got there, I interviewed this girl. She was so eloquent. She attends a public school in La. She was so eloquent in the interview. And when I finished the interview, I told my producer that this girl will go places. And I gave her my number and I left. I went to do the story and put it on the TV in the evening. The following morning, a gentleman, he's late now, Oscar Ogo, called me and said, Sanda, the owner of Soul Clinic watched you last night. And she said she liked that girl you interviewed and she wants to sponsor her to Soul Clinic International School. So please come, let's talk about it. I was like, wow, I actually saw this coming, but I didn't know it would happen so fast. So fast forward, Jennifer, whose mother sells charcoal in La, goes to Soul Clinic International School. It's a wide gap. Soul Clinic is what we call bourgeois or pecheche school. She's from groundnut, soup and kokonte dress school. How is she going to fit in? Soul Clinic helps, gives her a computer and all these things, and she manages to fit in. She has finished Soul Clinic. What's the next agenda? You don't give up as a journalist. When you start a story, you make sure the story ends. So what happens? I went to social media and I said, this young girl has finished. Her results are sterling. How can we help push her forward? And I luckily managed to get her into Ghana International School, GIS. And I was like, wow, that's exciting. And the GIS CEO, Dr. Mereshen, when I went to her, she said, we really want to admit her, but we can't get anybody to help. So she went shopping for sponsors, and they got someone, Ajayan Associates, and they agreed to sponsor her. So for the past 2 years, Jennifer was at GIS, and she has finished GIS. So as we speak, she has done her graduation. But the next thing is, where does she go? She has to go to university. The mother who sells charcoal in La cannot do it. So I'm calling on the nation that let's help Jennifer to go forward. And there are not a lot of private universities and public universities. And my call tonight is that let's help Jennifer and people like Jennifer in our various nooks and crannies. And if we do, together, we will build a nation that we want. Thank you so much. This has been the Cowboy Journalist. God bless you.